From the heart of South Asia to the crossroads of Central Asia, from the turbulent Middle East and North Africa to the power corridors of the West, where narratives collide, perspectives matter and stories connect. This is Beyond Borders and I am Umar Khalid Bhatt. During the course of the show, we'll bring you stories that matter to this changing world in the 21st century without borders, without boundaries, in a world that needs its stories to be heard. We'll begin with what we call the top stories of the day, or in other words, region lines. We start from Pakistan, where Bangladesh's advisor to the Ministry of Environment and Climate Change, Syeda Rizwana Hasan, says Pakistan and Bangladesh, who were leaders in getting lost in a damage fund established, should press the developed countries to fulfill their commitments about the disbursement of funds. In an exclusive interview with Pakistan TV, she says Bangladesh is closely observing Pakistan's renewable energy initiatives, particularly in solar power, and could adopt similar models to expand clean energy production. Moving on, Afghanistan under the Taliban rule remains a safe haven for terrorists. Violating the Doha peace agreement, terror groups including Al-Qaeda and Fitna al-Khawarij continue cross-border attacks against Pakistan. According to the UN monitoring team report, Fitna al-Khawarij and other terrorist organizations continue to operate in an organized manner under the shadow of the Afghan Taliban. Also, timely and intelligence-based operations by the Pakistan Army have crushed militant networks, inflicting the worst defeat in a decade. According to a report by Pakistan Institute for Conflict and Security Studies, 355 terrorists were killed in October alone, while overall terror attacks fell by 52% in September. Security forces' professionalism and swift action have reinforced peace and stability across the country, marking a decisive turning point in Pakistan's fight against terrorism. Meanwhile, the people of Jammu and Kashmir on both sides of the line of control and across the world will observe Jammu Martyrs Day on November the 6th to reaffirm their resolve to continue the struggle for their unrecognized right to self-determination. The day marks one of the darkest chapters in Kashmir's history, when thousands of Muslims were massacred by the forces of Dogra ruler Maharaja Hari Singh, the Indian Army and armed RSS extremists in different parts of the Jammu region as they were migrating to Pakistan during the first week of November 1947. Finally, as the world watches the evolving dynamics of global diplomacy, the upcoming C5+1 summit in Washington, D.C. on the 6th of November is generating significant buzz across Central Asia and beyond. The summit is seen as a pivotal opportunity to shift from symbolic dialogues to actionable collaborations, particularly in areas like critical minerals, energy security and infrastructure development. We'll begin with an exclusive. Tonight, we turn our attention to a partnership that holds immense untapped potential. Pakistan and Bangladesh, two nations linked by history, shared challenges and growing opportunities. Despite being among the world's most climate vulnerable countries, both are showing remarkable economic resilience and the drive for sustainable growth. The bilateral trade relations are far below the potential. How can this change, and what practical steps can translate goodwill into action? To discuss this and more, we are joined by Syeda Rizwana Hasan, advisor for environment, forest and climate change of Bangladesh, a distinguished lawyer, human rights advocate and recipient of the Goldman Environmental Prize and other awards as well. Her leadership in linking environmental policy with economic transformation has earned her global recognition. In our conversation, we'll explore how Pakistan and Bangladesh can unlock trade through smart policy reforms and improved connectivity, build joint climate adaptation mechanisms, and advocate together for global climate finance and shape a 5-year strategic vision that deepens economic and people-to-people ties across South Asia. Ma'am, it's an honor to have you with us on Beyond Borders. Welcome to our show. Our first question concerns enhanced connectivity, which is key to business confidence. Beyond the recent direct shipping launch, what is the timeline for resuming direct air links, and what visa or regulatory reforms are being prioritized to encourage greater business-to-business and people-to-people exchanges, which are vital for long-term economic growth?
Thank you very much. First, I must tell you that how happy I am to be here in Islamabad after many years. When I was planning my tour, I went to the internet and I saw that there is a decision posted about direct flight between Dhaka and Islamabad. So, when I wanted to find out what the options are, actually it turned out that there is no direct flight from Bangladesh to any destination here in Pakistan, which I think is very, very sad. So, I had to come via Bangkok and others are having to come via Dubai or Doha. So, there is no direct connectivity. Despite the decision of having direct connection, it could not be materialized due to some logistical shortcoming on our part and also due to some of the airspace related complication. I am hearing that even if there are logistical shortcomings on our part, there is a plan that we may request other airlines of other countries to make direct connection between Bangladesh and Pakistan, which they are calling Fifth Freedom, and I am hopeful that very soon we will be getting airlines. The issue of direct connectivity and visa should be resolved as soon as possible. There is already decision at the government level that there will be direct flight between Bangladesh and Pakistan, but we do have logistic shortcomings on our part. There are airspace related complications, but I am happy to share that both the countries are considering positively the engagement of a third country that will be flying flights directly from Bangladesh to Pakistan and from Pakistan to Bangladesh, something that they call Fifth Freedom. I am hopeful that anytime soon we will be able to finalize that arrangement. On the visa issue, both countries have agreed that the diplomatic passports will no longer require visa, but for us to build trust between the communities, it is important that this facility is also extended to the common people and to the business people, and I believe that there is dialogue going on between both the countries. I really look forward to a day when people of one country in the SAARC region will be able to go to other countries without having to obtain a prior visa. We should look forward to a day when we will be able to travel and get our visa on arrival.
All right, ma'am. That was a great response, and we look forward to more such initiatives as well from your end. As two of the world's most climate vulnerable nations, what is a specific joint initiative that Pakistan and Bangladesh can pursue? Can it be a regional platform for sharing climate adaptation technology, or a united front to collectively advocate for climate finance from developed nations to mitigate our shared environmental risks?
I must tell you that Bangladesh and Pakistan, together with other developing countries, took the lead back in 2022 in Conference of Parties of the UNFCCC, and we managed to push forward and get a fund for loss and damage set up at the international level. So, for that the people of Bangladesh and Pakistan need to be congratulated, because their leaders really managed to push forward this agenda despite opposition from many developed countries. Now that loss and fund damage will be operationalized soon. The commitment that the global leaders gave in that particular conference of parties in terms of disbursement of fund is unfortunately still not being met. So, Bangladesh and Pakistan, who were the leaders in getting the loss and damage fund established, should press hard so that the global leaders fulfill their commitment that they made about disbursement of fund in this particular institutional mechanism to be used by the climate vulnerable countries. There are many areas in which we can cooperate. We can cooperate in the area of climate mitigation. We can also cooperate in the area of climate adaptation. Bangladesh is seriously thinking about going 100% renewable, and we have set a target of going of having 30% renewable energy by 2020. We know that Pakistan already has got huge success in popularizing renewable energy through use of solar panels on their rooftops. This is a model that can be very useful for the government of Bangladesh. I'm really pressed in Bangladesh because now that I'm in charge of the Environment Ministry and I was an environmental activist, I've always been very strong in criticizing the government for its inaction about air pollution. I was very encouraged to hear that Lahore is dealing with its air pollution problem through new innovation. So I'll be very happy if the lessons of Lahore can be communicated to us so that Bangladesh can, if it's appropriate for us, adopt to the same practices that Lahore has introduced. In many other areas, in terms of water security, in terms of natural resource based protection, in terms of plastic waste management, in terms of how to manage shared river courses, Bangladesh and Pakistan have a lot to share. While the food production in Bangladesh will suffer due to increased salinity in the coastal areas, food production in Pakistan will suffer due to drought. So we have to come together, connect the farming communities so that they can come up with solutions that can be replicated by the others.
All right. Last question to you. I've taken a lot of your time. You've been extremely busy in Pakistan. Nevertheless, thank you again for having given us the time. My last question concerns Bangladesh that has seen exceptional progress in export-led growth and poverty reduction. In which specific sectors do you see the most potential for Pakistan investment in Bangladesh? And conversely, what key economic reform lessons from Bangladesh's success are being discussed for greater regional application?
You see, I am not a shopper, but every time I come to Pakistan, I really want to buy the fine cotton that Pakistan produces. Of course, there is a growing fashion industry in Bangladesh that are importing a lot of Pakistani clothes. We do have jute products that you're already bringing, but we can of course advocate for you to import more. I can see that we have some traditional fruits like pineapple that Pakistan can import, and it not only would be importing pineapple as a food item. There are countries in the world like the Philippines, even in Bangladesh, there have been innovations with the pineapple fiber. They are making cotton, they are making dress materials with the pineapple waste. So that can be a very sustainable investment if both the countries come together, do export pineapples to Pakistan, and Pakistan as a leader in the cotton and textile industry, they can come up with innovation as to how to make fibers from the pineapple waste. I can also see that the government of Bangladesh is in conversation with the government of Pakistan about having a halal certification industry there in Bangladesh. We can also offer you tea, we can also offer you fish. These are the sectors I can instantly think of.
Thank you so very much, ma'am Syeda Rizwana, Hasan Advisor for Environment, Forest and Climate Change of Bangladesh, to have given us this exclusive tete-a-tete to give us your perspective on what Bangladesh is doing and how both Bangladesh and Pakistan can work together in order to turn the whole region and our bilateral cooperation around for the better as well. Thank you very much to have joined us. Let's come to our second story, and that concerns Afghanistan, that continues to be a haven as far as terrorism is concerned. That we have seen in the last few days as well, with the number of incidents that have happened. And of course, we also had the DGISPR, who had an exclusive conversation with media persons very recently, in which he also highlighted this very fact. We have been joined by Major General Tariq Rashid Khan Saab, who is a defense analyst, and he's right here with us in the studio. Sir, thank you very much to have joined us.
Most welcome.
I'll begin with the DGISPR's interaction with the media personnel, and I'll take some excerpts from it to understand something from your end. Given the DGISPR statement that 60% of militants killed during recent infiltrations have been Afghan nationals, and that Afghan soil continues to be used against other countries for terrorist incidents, how can Pakistan, in your point of view, proactively enforce its one-point agenda to prevent such cross-border threats while maintaining a diplomatic engagement with Kabul?
I think the one-point agenda could be that all Afghanis living in Pakistan should go back to their country. There is their own people who are running their country, and enough is enough. Pakistan for the last 45 years have hosted them. And as you very rightly said, as shared by DGISPR, that around 60% footprint of Afghans national have been found wherever terrorism activities has happened. So we have to send them back. And then we have, I may add with that, that we have to guard our borders very strictly. There has to be a mechanism which ensures that no illegal person from Afghanistan can come to Pakistan. And then of course, I may add, if I may add, that the local population of Pakistan living near the border area, that they have to be taken into confidence. That if, because we have a 2,640 kilometers of long border with them, which is very porous. So if any illegal person is found or heard, they should immediately report to the law enforcing agencies.
All right, that's an interesting take. But the DGISPR also said during his interaction that the Taliban regime, the Afghan Taliban regime, is not a legitimate representative of the government of Afghanistan, and no one authorized them to establish an Islamic emirate. I think it's a strong statement, but I'd like your take on it. Also, that Afghanistan needs an inclusive, representative government which does not support terrorist organizations and respects rights, especially those of the women.
Exactly. You see the whole agreement, one of its clauses were very explicitly which said that they will hold free and fair elections after managing their initial state of affairs. But 4 years have passed and they have not done that. So this still stays as a Afghan interim government, which is not all inclusive. And now we are hearing the news about a National Resistance Front, National Mobilization Front, and also reports that the areas of Badakhshan and Panjshir Valley, some of those areas, some of the districts have fell into the hands of these organizations. So now people are asking them questions. So I think this Afghans interim governments, they deliberately are delaying elections because it suits them. If there is a law and order situation, there is a chaos in the country, so they think the people will remain involved in such kind of the things.
And that is why we call them the Afghan interim government.
Yeah, that's why. But they cannot fool the world for a long time. No, it's the time that the world should ask them that you have to hold the elections and you have to form an all-inclusive government.
You say the world needs to ask them. Another important question that the world needs to ask them is also, why do they continue to harbor the terrorists? There are so many reports, NGOs, United Nations reports that also give evidence. So has Pakistan given evidence time and again to different stakeholders about terrorist sanctuaries and cross-border terrorism coming from Afghan soil. What is the responsibility of the important world bodies under this state of affairs?
I think all these countries of the world which are engaged with Afghanistan, especially America, you see, the US still provides them about 40 millions of US dollar on the weekly basis just to run their state bank. If the America today stops this giving financial aid to this interim government, they will straight away collapse. So America has a great leverage, and we are non-major NATO allies with them. And one of the biggest major collaboration which we have with the US is war against terrorism. And Pakistan is one country which has suffered the maximum. So I think we need to collaborate with United States on this front. We need to inform them, educate them, showing all these footprints of fitna Hindustan, fitna Khawarij, Indian proxies present in Afghanistan, and ask them to utilize their full leverage on Afghanistan and stop them or coerce them to not to harbor any sponsor or terrorist organization like the TPP or the BLA, ISKP, ETIM working against China, IMU working against Uzbekistan, Jaish-e-Jandal working against Iran. So I think America can play a very effective role, and we are their major partner in war against terror. So I think we should jointly reduce the space of Afghanistan in this regard.
Also I'd like to understand, I'll revert back to the first question I asked regarding the DGISPR statement about 60% of militants that were Afghan nationals that were found involved in activities in Pakistan. What needs to be done when we know that the maximum of these are Afghans? How can we also secure our borders? We know very well that the Afghan Taliban regime does not accept the Durand line as it is. But under the current circumstances, when we need to protect our own borders, our own side of the land, what should we do as far as border security mechanisms are concerned?
I think the most of the border between Afghanistan and Pakistan is already fenced. Few areas are left. But since it is a porous border, you cannot guard 100%. You cannot assure 100% that no infiltration takes place. But what we can do is that we can enhance security mechanism, we can enhance our intelligence reporting system, and we can also, as I earlier said, take people into confidence. And those who sympathize with them, who facilitates them, and do harbor them, give them protection, I think we need to formulate laws for them also, and give them the same punishment which is rendered to the terrorists.
All right. Speaking of punishments rendered to terrorists, we continue to see incidents that occur in different regions of Pakistan that involve the fitna al-Khawarij and fitna in Hindustan. What, in your point of view, should be Pakistan's perspectives or Pakistan's POV when it meets the Afghan side again on the 6th of this very month? How can Pakistan, with the help of the mediators, make the Afghan interim government of the Afghan Taliban understand the fact that terrorism neither suits Pakistan nor Afghanistan?
Exactly. And that's why we have told them that we have one-point agenda. You have to make sure that your soil is not used against any activity or terrorism activity or incident inside Pakistan. And after that, then you have to ensure that those camps which are already there, they have to be dismantled, they have to be disarmed, and you have to live as a respectable and law-abiding state. I think the entire Afghan government doesn't have any choice. If we bilaterally engage them and we use the military instruments as a pressure tactics onto them, that if you don't listen to us diplomatically, politically, then we have this military means. As we have used earlier, we don't want to use it, but this option is available to us, and then we should also work towards the regional approach. We should take Iran into confidence, we should take Tajikistan into confidence, Uzbekistan into confidence, also China. Because I am also working against these Chinese. So all these neighbors, including Pakistan, because Pakistan is affected the most, because we have the largest border with them, and we have the largest number of refugees with them. So a regional approach, and also with our Muslim brothers like the Qatar, Turkey and Saudi Arabia, I think we can reduce the space of the one government quite a bit, and they have to be coerced and forced to and to ensure that their soil is not used against any of their neighbors.
And of course, we all also know the role of the Indians as far as the backbone of all of this terrorism through Afghanistan is concerned, examples of which have been seen recently in Tak, in Ishari, other parts of North Waziristan, where such miscreants have been found and eliminated. We'll now go, sir, to the next story, and our next story also concerns terrorism and Pakistan's success in the war on this very terrorism. Although on the one hand, we continue to face incidents across different parts of Pakistan, but on the other hand, effective counter-terrorism operations carried out by security forces in different regions of Pakistan have broken the backbone of these terrorist networks. And in the last month alone, the number of such incidents show that the Pakistani forces and the defense apparatus is growing stronger with every passing day. We have now also been joined by Guldad, Director Research of PICSS in Islamabad online. Thank you very much, Guldad, to have joined us. We are also continue to be joined by Major General Tariq Rashid Saab, who is with us in the studios. But my first question is from Guldad. Guldad, the PICSS report confirms the worst decade-long defeat for terrorists and a sharp decline in attacks. How do Pakistan's intelligence-based operations, in your point of view, reflect this shift towards more sustainable, coordinated counterterrorism, particularly under Azm-e-Istehkam?
Thank you very much for having me in the show, first of all. Secondly, the Pakistani security forces has been able to manage to control the growing trend of violence in Pakistan. We have witnessed in August the highest number of militant attacks in Pakistan, but since August we have witnessed decrease in militant attacks, primarily because the Pakistani security forces have been able to control their activities in these troubled regions. And I believe that the coordination and the intelligence gathering were the main pillars of these activities from the security forces. There have been better coordination between military, paramilitary, police, and intelligence agencies, and this has been witnessed on the ground.
All right. Also, Guldad, now that over 350 terrorists were neutralized in just 1 month, what next steps, in your point of view, political, developmental or judicial, are essential to further consolidate these security gains?
The military operation or the intelligence-based operation are one part of this counterterrorism exercise. And I believe that you need to improve your governance, and first step towards governance is putting in place an effective local governance system. Similarly, provision of services like health, education, clean drinking water, etc. should be ensured. Secondly, I believe that the police should be empowered. Since police is first line of defense, there is need to empower the local police to take full control of law and order and security in these troubled regions. And the capacity building of police and the counterterrorism departments should be provided, and these police forces and the CTDs should be given the modern equipments and weapons to improve their intelligence and operational capabilities. And I think the political backing of police is also very important. The third point I would like to highlight is the judicial and legal reforms, because the provision of speedy justice is mandatory. I think there is need to undertake much delayed legal judicial reforms for speedy justice by improving investigation, prosecution, and convictions of not only terrorism cases, but also the civil and criminal matters. And I think alternate dispute resolution mechanism may also be adopted for speedy justice. And final, but very important, is creating economic opportunities. You know that since terrorism thrives on illegal spectrum, including drug trafficking, smuggling, the government needs to put an end to all such activities to deny crucial financial resources to these militant groups and their support network. And I believe that economic opportunities need to be created so that local population does not remain dependent on black economy. So you need to develop economic opportunities for the people. You need to develop infrastructure. You need to develop. You need to adopt judicial and legal reforms, I believe.
All right, Major General Tariq Rashid Khan Saab, Azm-e-Istehkam is a very important platform or program under which we are seeing our defense forces gaining ground against the terrorists. How can they also gain ground against the foreign operators that are pushing or aiding such elements?
So they have to be eliminated. As you see, Israel had used AI technology in the shape of Lavender, the Gospel. They use these tools, and which they used to monitor the social media, their activity, their communication, the images they used to put on and share on the media. So they used to identify the potential target through the Lavender use application, and with the Gospel they used to monitor their presence and what is the pattern of movement, and wherever they were able to shortlist them and home them, they destroyed them. So we need to use such kind of tools, and also we need to use our regional friends in whose country, if they are sitting there, and from there they are carrying out some financial support or betting them. So we need to reduce their space.
Right.
So this kind of regional approach, and then depending maximum on yourself. Whatever we can do, we should do that. And then we should also break the nexus of the terrorists, the crime, the smugglers, the drug traffickers. This nexus we need to break, and then we need to have economic activities in all these affected areas, especially in Waziristan area, the Kuram, Khyber, Bajaur area, and in Balochistan, where we have identified like the Kalat and Mustang area, and the 4 districts which borders Balochistan Sea, namely this Gawadar, Avaran, Lisbela, and Hub. So we need to have an economic activity there. So the people, the youth of the area, they get involved in positive activities rather falling prey to the terrorist.
I completely agree with you on that. Last question from you, Guldad. How important is the National Action Plan under these current circumstances, and how can this plan further be used to strengthen our military capabilities against the terrorist outfits?
Now, look, the National Action Plan was a comprehensive action plan for fighting terrorism, and the whole of the nation approach was adopted. I mean, the political forces were behind it, every political party was behind it. But the problem is its implementation. We have seen over the past few years that the focus of the government has shifted towards other things, and the National Action Plan was ignored. Now we need to actually revitalize the National Action Plan and focus on not only the kinetic measures, but also the other measures mentioned in the National Action Plan. As General Tariq said, the economic measures, the ideological measures, you need to actually deal with the extremism and the use of different sort of media. So you need to adopt a comprehensive policy, and the National Action Plan is a document that has been agreed to between political parties, and it needs to be implemented into letter and spirit.
All right. Guldad, thank you very much to have joined us. It was a pleasure talking to you, as it is always, and until next time. Let's take you now to our next story that concerns a very important day in the history of the Kashmiris, whether it be on this side of the border or on the other side. On the 6th, that is on Thursday, the Jammu Martyrs Day is being observed across the world by the Kashmiri population, and also by the Kashmiris residing on both sides of the border. On this very day, in 1947, the Hindus mercilessly massacred hordes of Muslims who were trying to migrate to Pakistan from Jammu. And this happened in Jammu, and that is why it is called the Jammu Martyrs Day. We'll begin our question with General Tariq Rashid Khan Sahab. How does this Martyrs Day, sir, remind the world of the systemic massacre of over 200,000 Muslims from Kashmir in 1947? Why is it crucial to preserve this historical truth in the face of India's continuous attempt to rewrite history?
Very rightly said by you that we need to preserve this day, because India had done such a massacre at such a level which was history had never seen it. You see, Israel had attacked Gaza, and the war continued for about over 2 years, and we hear that about 100,000 Palestinians have been killed. In just few days, they killed from 200,000 to 250,000 Muslims living in Jammu. You see, before partition, the Jammu had the population, 70% were Muslim, and 25 to 30% hardly were Hindus. So they were conscious of this fact. And Kashmiri Valley was almost 100%. So they deliberately planned and executed this genocide, and they executed around 250,000 Muslims, and they pushed them and forced them to cross border, whoever were left, and they came and they settled down in the current district of Pakistan, that is Sialkot. So we need to preserve this day and keep exposing the atrocities of India. And then ultimately you see in 2019, they abrogated Article 370 and 35A, and now they are in huge number taking these Hindus and settling them in Kashmir. And there are reports that 85,000 to 100,000 Hindus have been settled in the Kashmir valleys, and they are buying their properties. They want to change the demography of the valley also, but they cannot do it. Kashmir is a jugular vein of Pakistan because Al-Qaeda said it. And the realization of Kashmir becoming the part of Pakistan, inshallah, it will be soon.
Inshallah, it will soon be a reality. We've also been joined by Altaf and Wani Sahib. He's a dear friend, a Kashmiri leader as well. Wani Sahib, thank you very much to have joined us. Wani Sahib, we were talking about this Jammu Martyrs Day that's going to happen. We are going to observe it on Thursday, this coming Thursday, the 6th of November. How important, A, is this day from a historical perspective? Also, when we look at how this massacre laid the foundation of the demographic changes that the Hindus wanted to make in the region, something that they continue to do in this very day and age with all the different maneuvers that they are doing. How important is it for the world to realize it, and how important is it for them to give that realization of what actually India is doing?
Thank you, Barsa, for having me. Actually, we observed this day on November 6th, but to be precise, it was not only the November 6th, but it was whole of year of 1947. It started well in the springs of 1947, well before the partition of the subcontinent. As it was on cards that India and Pakistan are going to be two states in coming, and the people of Kashmir were in jubilation to join the Pakistan, they were there. So Maharaja and RSS has already plans to exterminate Muslims from Jammu. And for what they did was in March that RSS was established in Jammu, training camps were established for them, the arms were distributed to them, and then we could see the other forces from the India, they joined them, the other parts of India, they joined them, those forces, and under the nose of Maharaja Hari Singh. It was not that it was just what people say, it was because of the communal rights. It was not a communal right. It was not a spontaneous communal right. It was a systematic as well as an well-planned by the Maharaja of Kashmir and the Hindu extremists, as has been explained by many of these international authors like Alistair Lamb. It has been also by the Indian author Prem Shankar Jha, then Ved Bhasin, and others have also alluded to it, what happened and how Maharaja of Kashmir and some of the Indian leaders were very much ready to exterminate Muslims from Jammu and to make Jammu and Kashmir a Hindu state. And now when we see how important this day is important for us. But unfortunately, the Indian false narrative around the world, right from 1947 till date, has overshadowed this massacre. This massacre is not in the memories of the international audience. This massacre is not in the memories of the international, most of the international authors, thanks to them who have come and who did research here, but our own authors have done very little justice to this massacre, to this genocide, to bring this to the international audience. But it is important for us to remember this.
It's important, Altaf and Wali Sahib, to remember this, but I'd also like to understand, and this is my last question to you, 78 years now have passed. Why has the United Nations continued to fail to enforce its own resolutions regarding the right to self-determination to the people of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir?
See, we know about the United Nations, why it failed, already the polarization in the council, and thereafter, after 60s, the alliances changed and so on and so forth. But for the people of Kashmir.
All right, there's some kind of an audio issue as far as Wani Saab's conversation with us is concerned, but of course, we all understand the importance of the Jammu Martyrs Day, and I'd like to kind of revert this question as a short answer to you, sir. I'd like to understand why, in your point of view, is there a failure to enforce all the resolutions that are still pending in the UN concerning IIOJ?
You see, this is a big question. The UN has passed over 1 dozen of resolutions for the holding of plebiscite in Kashmir, but they have not been able, they don't have any mechanism from which they can really enforce a country like India, which is one of the most populous country in the world, to abide by the resolution passed by the UNO. But I think one country, which in my view is America, they can really, especially with the President Trump, levying a 50% tariff on India, and India trying their best to make him unhappy with them by passing stupid kinds of comment on them. Imagine one of their leader, Shashi Tharoor,
yes,
going to America and while sitting there criticizing the President Trump. So I think if we can take US into confidence as they are investing in Pakistan, and we should educate them, the atrocity which India has committed in Kashmir and the UN resolution, and ask for their mediation.
All right, so the role of the US is going to be very important. Thank you very much, Major General Tariq Rashid Khan Saab, Defence Analyst, to have joined us. Stay with us for 2 more minutes while we end the show. And thank you very much, Altaf Hussain Wani Saab, to have joined us as well. Let's take you now to Central Asia. Now, the upcoming C5+1 summit that is happening in Washington on the 6th November. The 6th November seems to be a very important day for so many things that are happening. It marks a major diplomatic milestone for both the US and Central Asia because they are celebrating the 10th anniversary of the C5+1 format that unites the US with Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. This will be the first summit that is hosted in the US capital and the second ever at the presidential level, with all 5 Central Asian leaders confirming their attendance at President Donald Trump's invitation. Important developments on that front as well, and of course the fact remains that despite the skeptics, this is a very important development. This brings, ladies and gentlemen, to the end of today's Beyond Borders. It's been an exciting journey today as well, and we'll continue to take you along this journey in which we'll decipher a world without borders and boundaries and bring you stories that matter in this changing world. Till then, Allah Hafiz.